two, check, two. Uh-huh, uh-huh. From the outskirts of approval and advice, except for keep both hands on the stick, always look for the open eyes. Two, keep both hands on the stick and always look for the open eyes. You're a child from the outskirts of approval and advice, except for keep both hands on the stick, always look for the open eyes. You breathe and wonder other indefensible things. You asked a stranger once, at which point is suffering ignoble? At which point does it degrade? predisposed to melancholia. You were unlikable as a teen. You believe we used to fly high, and that our ribs once were wings. You got a strong sense of self, your heart on your friends as you're devoted. Use silence as a litmus. You let it speak and seek full-throated. You're authentically inauthentic. You've no time for stage sincerity. You've no time for art's sake. In an age of refugees, you don't count on the human beast for conspiracy. You don't go in for ESP, but you agree the heart is the sixth sense. And you don't believe, and you believe in love at first sight. You believe that it's a romance, dear. If in the end all we've ever done may be forgiven. Two, 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 two. Sandra, can you come here for a second? Can you look at that outside and tell me what you think of everything? Did it sound okay? Listen to your head with your headphones and just tell me if it sounds like I'm plugged into something. You're too noble to suffer the rewards of practical reality. As you pick through the plastics and debris of your failing dream, you're authentically inauthentic. You have no time for stage sincerity. You don't believe in art for art's sake. What's wrong with it? Okay. Hey there. Can you hear me, Steve? Hey, Steve. Two, 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 two. Two, check two. Now that sounds very faint. Two, check. That sounds better to my ears, but okay. Let's see. Two, check two, two.
Conclusion that this was basically a variation on the more we get together, the happier we will be. And it was sort of a kick in the pants. It was like, this is a sign, you need to try something. So I reached out to some musicians, and within 2 days, I had the amazing lineup of performers confirmed that we are pleased to present to you here tonight. We have Ken Whiteley, Coco Love Alcorn, Jon Brooks, and the Right Reverend Mark Kleiner, my brother. You'll also be hearing some readings from some members of our Redeemer community, including our pastor, Steve Hofford, Charmaine Williams, Susan Peshkin, and Jamie Watt, who is also helping us with the tech here tonight. In terms of the format, so you have a sense of what to expect, the evening is divided into 4 sections, each of which is opened with some short readings, after which we will pass things over to one of our musical performers for a short set of about 15 minutes. At the end of each of those sets, we are going to unmute you all so that you can express your thanks, gratitude, enthusiasm for the performers, and then we'll move on to the next one. A little tech note. Some of you may not have used Zoom often or before. You have some control there how you experience this. In the top right corner of your Zoom screen, you'll see a little rectangle. If you have multiple windows open right now, that is gallery view. Sort of like Hollywood Squares, for those of you old enough to remember. That can be a nice communal way of creating some community, but if you want to have the full-on view of our performers, click on that button, it'll be speaker view, and then whoever is speaking at the moment will occupy most of the screen. So those are your 2 options. I also want to point out that at the end of the night, we'll be putting up a slide with a few websites. The first one is for the charitable benefactor of our beneficiary of tonight's performance, the STOP Community Food Program here in Toronto. Part of your ticket price will be going to them, but if you wish to make more of a donation to this very worthy cause, go to their website. The other websites that'll go up are for our performers. Independent musicians, of which all of our performers here tonight are having, trying to keep their heads above water. The best way you can support them here is to buy some of their music online, so we'll give you a way of doing that. But that's the housekeeping. We're really pleased that you could all be here tonight. Thank you for joining us. And without any further ado, we will get the program started. I'm going to invite my fellow parishioner here at Redeemer, Charmaine Williams, to come up now for our first set of readings.
Okay. Our first reading is a section of The Cure at Troy, a version of Sophocles' Philoctetes, a 1991 work by the Nobel Prize-winning poet Seamus Heaney. Human beings suffer. They torture one another. They get hurt and get hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong inflicted and endured. History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that a further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. Call the miracle self-healing, the utter self-revealing, double take of feeling. If there's fire on the mountain or lightning and storm and a God speaks from the sky, that means someone is hearing the outcry and the birth cry of new life at term. It means that once in a lifetime, justice can rise up and hope and history rhyme. Next, I'm reading With Open Hands, a poem by Catholic priest and scholar Henri Nouwen. Hope means to keep living amid desperation and to keep humming in the darkness. Hoping is knowing that there is love. It is trust in tomorrow. It is falling asleep and waking again when the sun rises. In the midst of a gale at sea, it is to discover land. In the eyes of another, it is to see that he understands you. As long as there is still hope, there will also be prayer, and God will be holding you in his hands. And now we'll turn things over to our first musical performer of the night, Mark Kleiner, the Lutheran-trained pastor of Christ Church Anglican in Saskatoon.
Thank you so much. Great to be here with all of you. I'm not at home right now. I'm actually in my Father's house. The full verse should go, in my Father's house there are many mansions and exceedingly better Wi-Fi. So I'm glad you're all here, and we're going to have some music and some more readings, and also some more thanks, because it's thanks to Zoom, Zoom, Zoom. Though we're stuck in our rooms, we'll have a concert tonight, a hope and healing respite from all the gloom, gloom, gloom. Ken, Coco, Jon, and I too, we hope to make you feel right. Just tune in all night. I had a dream last night, I was piloting a plane, and all the passengers were drunk and insane. I crash landed in a Louisiana swamp, shot up a hole and zombies gonna come out on top. What's it all about? Guess it just reflects my mood. Sitting in the dirt, feeling kinda hurt, when all I hear is doom. because it's not all doom and gloom, brothers and sisters, and we're here tonight to have some music. Many thanks to my bro, JPK, for inviting me to come and be part of this, to Pastor Steve and all the Redeemer family there in Toronto. Now, I don't know what it's like out there in the East, but no one's coming to church anymore. But anyways, we're finding new ways to gather. And here's a song that I love. I find myself returning to some old favorites. So this is Patti Smith from the late 80s. And from your respective homes, I invite you to sing along. You know the words. Well, I was dreaming in my dreaming of an aspect right and fair, and my sleeping, it was broken, but my dream, it lingered near, in the form of shining valleys, where the pure air recognized, and my senses newly opened, I awakened to the cry that the people have the power to redeem the work of fools from the meek, the gracious shower. It's decreed the people rule. The people have the power. The people have the power. The people have the power. People have the power. Where there were deserts, I saw fountains like cream. The waters rise, and we stroll there together, with none to laugh or criticize. And the leopard and the lamb lay together, truly bound. I was hoping, in my hoping, to recall what I had found. I was dreaming, in my dreaming, God knows, a pure view. As I lay down to my sleeping, I commit my dream to you. The people have the power. People have the power. The people have the power. The people have the power. The power to dream, to rule, to wrestle the earth from fools. Well, it's decreed the people rule. It's decreed the people rule. Listen, I believe everything we dream can come to pass through our union. Oh, we can turn the world around. We can turn the earth's revolution. We have the power. The people have the power. The people have the power. The people have the power. And another song I'm loving in this time of quarantine, it comes from a national treasure. Now, he was embroiled in some controversy this past week. A not very well thought out tweet that had some racist overtones to it. So we've got to pull together right now. So all of us rowing in the same direction. I speak, of course, of Brian Adams. And he has since apologized for his statement. And he posted a tweet with him performing the title track from Into the Fire from 1987, which is showing that he's taking a more introspective turn. So we want Brian on the side, all of us rowing together towards a unified solution and doing things like tonight, coming together in song to pull through. So Brian has apologized, and Brian's a great writer, and this is a song which I think is a great quarantine anthem that has also been bringing me encouragement, and it goes like this. I've been wandering around the house all night, wondering what the hell to do. Yeah, I'm trying to concentrate, but all I can think of is you. Well, the phone don't ring 'cause my friends ain't home. I'm tired of being all alone. Got the TV on 'cause the radio's playing the songs that remind me of you. Baby, when you're gone, I realize I'm in love. Days go on, and the nights just seem so long. Even food don't taste that good. Drink ain't doing what it should. Things just get so wrong. Baby, when you're gone, yeah, yeah, baby, when you're gone, I realize I'm in love. Days go on, and the nights just seem so long since you're gone. All right. Let's see what we got here. So I've been writing some songs. And one of the things I've been able to do in this time of quarantine that's a safe way to do music, besides this kind of Zoom thing, which is awesome, is going to the parking lots of care homes and the residents set up in their windows or on a patio at a safe distance from each other and making some music. And the other day I was at a place called Luther Riverside Terrace here in Saskatoon, a great complex because it's got lots of balconies. And I was able to do some music there. And it struck me that we don't really have a balcony song for this time, like a balcony anthem. We've got Romeo and Juliet, a balcony themed kind of play, but in terms of a tune. So this is a song I've been writing to have a balcony song when and if you don't have a balcony, it's like it's symbolic, right? The idea is that we've each got our respective place from which to sing and share in this time. Where do we begin when we don't know where it ends? Locked inside a loop with the guardrails moved again. A surprise, surprise, this could take a while. Stuck in a domicile, so come out, turn off the news, that's enough pain today. It's 6:58, so just make it straight for your balcony. To cheer on those tonight out risking everything. And all of us at home joining in song to bring us nearer by degree. Singing glory from our balcony. You don't gotta be the pontiff or some backwater Juliet, professing crazy love with a perfect epithet. When it's all so wrong, out here in the tooth and the claw. And que sera, so come out, put on your shoes and you paint on the shelf. It's 6:59, just about singing time from your balcony. To grow and make you out and making everything. Let's get us through and from all out to bring us near by degree. Singing glory from our balcony. Our balcony.
the corner is singing my life. Playing guitar with a rusty old knife. Each line that he sings rhymes with the truth and a promise of something beyond the blues. Beyond the blues. Now you and me, baby, we took the long way around through the wide open country and the heart attack town, to every fork in the road where we all have to choose between darkness and light, beyond the blue. Beyond the blue. Beyond the shadows, beyond the rain, beyond the darkness, beyond the pain. When you know in your heart there's no way out but through, walk with me, darling. Beyond the blue. That old man on the corner, he's been gone for years. The guitar and the knife, they're all rusty with tears. But there's a song that he left us, we never will lose. That love is the way beyond the blue. Beyond the blue. Beyond the blue. Beyond the rain. Beyond the darkness. Beyond the pain. When you know in your heart way out but through, take a walk with me, darling. Beyond the blue. Beyond the blue.
Thank you.
Good job, Mark. Good job, Mark. Good job, Mark.
I clicked on the touch up my first.
This is a prayer by Thomas Merton, an American monk, theologian, and social activist. My Lord God, I have no idea where I'm going. I cannot see the road ahead of me, and I do not know for certain where it will end. Nor do I know myself, and the fact that I think I am following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you, and I hope that I have that desire in all that I am doing, and I hope I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore I will trust you always, though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death. I will not fear. For you are ever with me, and will never leave me to face my perils alone. Amen. This next reading comes from Nick Cave, an Australian singer-songwriter and author who regularly responds to questions posed to him by his fans. This question comes from April 2020 and was submitted by Patrick in Melbourne, Australia. As context for the question, it is important to note that while Nick Cave does not adhere to any formal, organized religion. Exploring and cultivating the presence of the Spirit plays a central part in his work and life. He is an advocate of prayer and meditation, activities which often confound his fans. Patrick appears to fall into this category when he asks Nick simply, "A prayer to who?" Dear Patrick, the act of prayer is by no means exclusive to religious practice, because prayer is not dependent on the existence of a subject. You need not pray to anyone. It is just as valuable to pray into your disbelief as it is to pray into your belief. For prayer is not an encounter with an external agent, rather it is an encounter with oneself. There is as much chance of our prayers being answered by a God that exists as a God that doesn't. I do not mean this facetiously, for prayers are very often answered. A prayer provides us with a moment in time where we can contemplate the things that are important to us, and this watchful application of our attention can manifest these essential needs. The act of prayer asks us something, and by doing so delivers much in return. It asks us to present ourselves to the unknown as we are, devoid of pretense and affectation, and to contemplate exactly what it is we love or cherish. Through this conversation with our inner self, we confront the nature of our own existence. The coronavirus has brought us to our knees, yet it has also presented us with the opportunity to be prayerful, whether we believe in God or not. By forcing us into isolation, it has dismantled our constructed selves by challenging our presumed needs, our desires, and our ambitions, and rendered us raw, essential, and reflective. Our sudden dislocation has thrown us into a mystery that exists at the edge of tears and revelation, for none of us knows what tomorrow will bring. In our hubris, we thought we knew, but as we bow our heads within the virus's awesome power, all we are sure of now is our defenselessness. In the end, this vulnerability may be, for our planet and ourselves, our saving grace, as we step chastened into tomorrow. Released from our certitude, we present our purest offering to the world, our prayers. Love, Nick. Now let me introduce our next performer, Jon Brooks. Jon is an accomplished singer-songwriter with a number of albums and accolades under his belt. He is also a Spirit Songs veteran, having performed, appropriately enough, in the most recent concert which considered the music and words of Nick Cave.
You're a child from the outskirts of approval and advice. Except for keep both hands on the stick and always look for the open eyes. And you believe in wonder and other indefensible things. You asked a stranger once, at which point does suffering ennoble? At which point does it degrade? You raised a kid with too much goodness. You think she ended up in Nelson. You raised a kid you always loved, and a kid you didn't always like. You spoke to the animals. You swear you heard a frog once say, it's not that I bring the rain, baby. On some level, I am the rain. Oh, you are loved. Endure, you are loved. You're predisposed to melancholia. You were unlikable as a teen. You believe we used to fly, and that our ribs once were wings. You've got a strong sense of self. You're hard on your friends as you're devoted. You use silence as a litmus. You let it speak and seek full-throated. You had Niagaras of sex in salad days. Now you smile to be smiled back at. You never once wore pajamas to Sobeys. Bless your heart for that. Can't judge people for wearing pajamas today. You were bullied and abused. You still think about cutting yourself. And you wish you could, but you can't forget what that fucker did to you. Oh, endure, you are loved. Endure, sister, you are loved. Endure, you are loved. Endure in good faith, brother, you are loved. And you're unnerved by overconfidence that says it has no regrets. You have regrets. Of course you do. And you've undetonated landmines, walk backwards in your tracks. You've put out every fire but your own. And under threat of structural collapse, no atheists you've known. And you think the idea of progress is pretty much magical thinking. Any kitten-scratched hand can feel the brittle bones in all that sings and clings. And you're still surprised by beauty. You think, maybe beauty is compensation for this world of suffering. You'd rather bitch into the face of the void than light 100 candles. And you'd rather talk about the Leafs than thank your dad for teaching you without saying a thing. Oh, endure, you are loved. Endure, you are loved. Endure, you are loved. Endure in good You're too noble to suffer the rewards of a practical reality. As you pick through the plastics and debris of your failing dream, and you're authentically inauthentic. You've no time for stage sincerity. You don't believe in art for art's sake. In an age of refugees, you don't count on the human beast for conspiracy. And you don't go in for ESP, but you agree the heart is the sixth sense. And you believe in love at first sight. And you believe that it's a romance, dear. If all we ever done in the end may be forgiven. Oh, endure, 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 you are loved. Endure, 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 you are loved. You lost a brother, it was sudden, that is to say, you knew it was coming. Grief knifed you with cards and x-ray eyes, and every song was for you. And for weeks, what used to be streetlights were glowing human skulls. What used to be soft sand was an oil spill of blackened weeping gulls. And then grief, love's cruel receipt, it faded too. The gloom surges in, but then it passes, as do you and I, and moth and rust do too. Now look at yourself. You're beautiful. You know that it's true. That the purpose of this sapphire life is to help each other through. And look at you, and look at you. You know that it's true. That the meaning of this sapphire life is sitting right beside you. Oh, endure, 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 you are love. Endure, endure, sister, we are love. Endure, 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 you are love. Endure, 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 we are love. Thank you, John Paul, for having me. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Coco. It's good to see you all. Until next time, everybody.
Bravo, bravo. Come on. Great job.
Right.
These next two poems are by American poets. The first one is by the 19th century poet Emily Dickinson, and the title is Hope is the Thing with Feathers. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. The second poem is by the poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou, and the title is Human Family. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple, tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the 7 seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, and yet not one common man. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are pleased now to invite Coco Love Alcorn to share her soulful and inspiring music.
Oh. Oh, wait a second. Hey, whoa, hello. Hi guys, how's it going out there? Nice to see you guys. I have nothing, I didn't prepare a plan of what to sing. I just wanted to be here in this moment with you guys. I'm still swimming in that last song that Jon Brooks sang, and da 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 da. Oh, it's really lovely. And then there was that beautiful poem that was just spoken. So maybe I'll just catch off the end of that. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. I'm just going to improvise some music with that because yeah, because it sounds like fun. are more alike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. All right. The river is a healer. The river is a sage. The river knows no end, and the river feels no age. The river is a leader every single day. It's living in the moment, and it always finds a way. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. The river calls me over. It's calling out my name. In the day and in the night I hear that river all the same. It's calling me over, calling out my pain. Oh, a river gathers tears just like a river gathers rain. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. The river is a traveler, always on the go. A river never worries if it's fast or if it's slow. River, take me to where I need to go. Oh, and I will just relax and let the river flow. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Oh, water, Water heal my body, heal my soul. When I go down, down to the water, the water, by the water, I feel whole. My body, heal my soul. When I go down, down to the water, by the water, I feel whole. When I go down, down to the water. When I go down, when I go down, when I go down to the water, by the water, I feel whole. Thank you. It's a song of mine I wrote about 5 years ago.
Was Coco done? Coco, I hope you're done. Bishop Desmond Tutu said, "Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. Hope does not deny the reality, but assumes that tomorrow will be better than today." But what does hope look like? At the beginning of physical distancing measures, we were much more optimistic, saying, we can spend a couple of weeks at home because soon we will be gathering with family and friends for Easter. Then, when it became apparent that wasn't happening, we instead looked forward to upcoming summer festivals. For me, it was Pride and the CNE, and now those are canceled too. Pastor Nadia Boltz-Weber, experiencing her own sense of lost hope, writes that she had hooked her hope on something in the future, and as each hope dissolved, she would find another hook, until finally reality sunk in. Then she spent the rest of the day and most of the next worrying about the future and binge-watching television. She writes, "Now before you scold me, I know that Jesus himself said, 'Who by worrying can add a single hour to the span of their life?' So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today." But sometimes I have to have that message confirmed over and over before I remember to believe it. In order to get back to trusting the words of Jesus, she looked for some helpful wisdom in the words of two different men who spent a long time in prison. One 8 years as a POW, and the other 18 years as an inmate on death row for a crime he didn't commit. An admiral in the US Navy, James Stockdale, survived 8 years in a North Vietnamese prison camp. When asked who of his fellow prisoners struggled to make it out alive, he replied, "The optimists. Oh, they were the ones who said, 'We're going to be out by Christmas.' And Christmas would come, and Christmas would go. Then they'd say, 'We're going to be out by Easter.' And Easter would come, and Easter would go, and then Thanksgiving, and then it would be Christmas again, and they died of a broken heart." Because of Stockdale's observations, there's a business concept known as the Stockdale paradox. It is the ability to hold two opposing but equally true things at once. One, you must have faith that you will prevail in the end, and two, at the same time, you must confront the brutal facts of your current reality.
Nadia said, when I stop and check in with myself, I must say, I believe we will prevail. As shitty as this all is, I have faith in the power of human love and creativity and resilience and kindness and humor. And I believe God to be the source of our love, creativity, resilience, and kindness and humor, which means there is an eternal supply on which to draw when we just don't have what it takes. Also, I have faith that God is already present in the future we keep pinning our hopes and fears to, so maybe it's safe to let them go. The other person is Damon Eccles. As an 18-year-old, he was wrongfully convicted of murder. He was recently interviewed about what wisdom he might offer as someone who spent half his life on death row before being freed. Eccles said, "The number one thing that helped me stay sane was figuring out that I could not live for the future. What it came down for me in prison was having to create a life for myself, not making myself insane, constantly wondering, when is this going to be over?" Whether it's news about the pandemic or your possible upcoming execution date, you can't sit around dwelling on that stuff or you're going to stew in fear and misery. Nadia points out that we can learn from these two men is that we need to recalibrate, because we will not get through this by setting our hearts on any events in the future. And we will not get through this by setting our minds on any fears about the future. To be sure, today has troubles of its own, plenty of them. So it's a waste of energy to import our imagined troubles of tomorrow that aren't even true or real yet. It's maybe not the healthiest thing for our happiness to be contingent on the future having to look a certain way. So here's the thing. We can turn resolutely to these brutal facts, and even so, we will prevail. There's a global pandemic, and we will prevail. There will be death, and we will prevail. There are long hoped for events in the future that will not happen, and we will prevail. There will be lost things and people and income and dreams, and still we will prevail. And all we really have is this day, and it is enough. It ends up, maybe Jesus was right. I'm now pleased to turn things over to the last performer of the evening, Ken Whiteley. Ken is a roots music icon with a long list of accomplishments to his name, including a new album just last month with the somewhat prescient title, Calm in the Eye of a Storm. We're pleased to welcome Ken back for his second Spirit Songs. So here he is, Ken Whiteley.
I'm going to start off with a song that says, "Let My Life Be Prayer." Let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Surely you will see me through. From the moment that I wake up till I go to sleep at night, I offer up my working words, bring them to the light. Let me feel the power to which we all unite, and let my life be prayer. Let it be prayer. Let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. And surely you will see me through. I do not need to worry, though I know that cares will come. I do not need to hurry if I know thy will be done. I just need to trust and in that faith walk on and let my life be prayer. Let it be prayer. Let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Surely you will see me through. Take this song that I'm singing, I offer it to you. The thoughts that I'm thinking, may they express anew. You are the inspiration, Lord, of everything I do. Oh, let my life be prayer. Help me sing it now. Let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Oh, surely you will see me through. And our time upon this planet is surely but a span. Things are bound to happen which we cannot understand. So in both joy and sorrow, Lord, I take your outstretched hand. Let my life be prayer. Let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Oh, let my life be prayer. Surely you will, oh, surely you will see me, Lord, in ways I cannot always understand. I'll reach out my hand, a way out of no way, Lord, surely you will see me through. All right, amen. I want to sing a song now that comes from the Georgia Sea Islands, and the Gullah Geechee people of the coastal region there of South Carolina and Georgia was where the first captured Africans were brought. There's still 500,000 people of Gullah Geechee heritage, and they knew a thing or two about surviving in hard times. And I feel so lucky, actually, in so many ways. I mean, here I am, you know, in my own home, and good food to eat, and I have the love of my family around me and stuff like that. And so in so many ways we are lucky, but it still can get to us sometimes. So I think of this song, because this song says it's another day's journey, and I'm so glad. 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 And the world can't do me no harm. I'm gonna beat the devil running, and I'm so glad. I'm gonna beat the devil running, and I'm so glad. I'm gonna beat the devil running, and I'm so glad. And the world can't do me no harm. another day's journey. It's another day's journey, and I'm so glad it's another day's journey, and I'm so glad it's another day's journey, and I'm so glad, and the world can do no harm. Sanctified and holy, and I'm so glad. Yes, I'm sanctified and holy, and I'm so glad. Well, I'm sanctified and holy, and I'm so glad, and the world can do no harm. Another day's journey, it's another day's journey, and I'm so glad it's another day's journey, and I'm so glad it's another day's journey, and I'm so glad, and the world can do me no harm. Woo! All right, I got one more song I want to sing. Trying to keep it moving along here. When this all started, a friend of mine, Alan Gasser, who's a wonderful singer and community song leader, and he said, I've been listening to your song every day. The song you wrote, I wrote this many years ago. It's called Golden, and when I saw the readings that Pastor Steve was going to read before I performed, and I thought, well, I guess I kind of have to sing this one, because this song is on that theme that says it's, to just, here we are, and this is the moment that we have, and it's golden, this moment that we're in. Golden, it's golden, it's golden, this moment that we're in. I remember as a child the way my parents smiled, and that love from long ago is here in this moment that we're in. It's golden, it's golden, it's golden, this moment that we're in. We must struggle for what's right, but before you start to fight, oh, just stop and feel the light, this moment that we're in. It's golden, Help me sing it now. It's golden. It's golden. This moment that we're in. Here I cry each tear anew, like a wave that reaches you, like the Spirit passing through. This moment right here, right now, right on Zoom that we're in, we're all in this together. Yeah, it's golden. I know that it's golden. Oh yeah, 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 it's golden. This moment right here, right now that we're in. Oh, let's just take a little moment here to think about how much we have to be thankful for, and I want to say my big thanks to John Paul, and Reverend Steve, and all the other performers and all the people who make this happen. I want to thank all of you folks for tuning in tonight and sharing this time with us. And so let's just sing this chorus one more time and appreciate what we have to be thankful for. It's golden. It's golden. It's golden. This moment that we're in.
So just before I close with prayer and a benediction, I want to thank our performers, Mark, Jon, Coco, and Ken. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you to the crew here at Redeemer for the readings, technical help, for Jon Paul Kleiner for putting this all together. Thank you so much. After we close, we will put up the slide that has all the performers' websites, so you can go and buy their music to support them. There's also a link to the Stop Community Food Program, what we're raising money for, so you can donate extra to them as well if you're able. And there's also a link to Redeemer Lutheran Church, where all of this has taken place. With a reminder, I hope to see you all here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. You can get the link on our website to Facebook Live or to Zoom. So I hope many of you join us. And now let us pray. Teach us, God, to turn our panic into patience and our fear into acts of kindness and support. Our strong must watch out for our weak. Our young must take care of our old. Help each one of us to do our part to halt the spread of this virus. Send strength and courage to the doctors and nurses in the front lines of this battle. Fortify them with the full force of their healing power. Send wisdom and insight to the scientists working day and night across the world to discover healing treatments. Bless their efforts, God. Fill our leaders with the wisdom and the courage to choose wisely and act quickly. Help us, God, to see that we are one world, one people who will rise above this pandemic together. Send us health, God. Watch over us. Grace us with your love. Bless us with your healing light. Hear us, God. Heal us, God. Amen. And now receive God's blessing. Go into the seething cauldron of the world. Listen for the questions and voices that you would rather not hear. Answer them with the energy of the Holy Spirit, the power of the one who gives life, and the boundless love of Christ. Amen.